Good evening and welcome to Bite-Size Book Reviews. The book I've just finished reading is called The Secret Hour by Scott Westerfeld. So the main character is a girl who's 15 years old called Jessica Day. She moves from Chicago to a town called Bixby in Oklahoma, and she discovers almost right away that there's some pretty strange thing going on in this town, starting with the fact that water actually tastes different to her here. And after talking to some classmates at school, she starts to have some really unusual dreams. So it turns out that in Bixby there's an extra hour that's, well, they say it's hidden at midnight. So the idea is instead of 24 hours in a day, you actually have 25. Only the 25th hour takes place exactly at midnight. Like the whole rest of the world freezes and only a few people can actually, still move around during this hour. They also call it the blue time because of the quality of the light in this place. So a certain group of people who are born really close to midnight or at midnight specifically acquire the ability to move around in this time, and they also tend to have unusual gifts, and Jessica discovers that she's a part of this group. In this town, they mostly refer to themselves as the Midnighters, and they deal with a certain group of ancient monsters that sort of took refuge in this peculiar hour. So I guess you could say this is very obviously book one of a series. It doesn't really have a big plot yet. The focus of this book is more Jessica learning about the secret hour and exploring the blue time and the different abilities, and also this group of teenagers trying to figure out what makes her unusual, because up until this point, for the most part, these monsters have left the Midnighters alone. But after Jessica came into town, suddenly all the monsters are waking up and they keep attacking her, and nobody really knows why. So you could say that the focus of this book is figuring out that why and starting to get a handle on what is changing, or something big that starts to happen, with her arrival. But there's a lot of hints that there is something bigger about to happen. It's just that this book doesn't actually get there yet. So something I liked was definitely the concept. Like I've mentioned before, that I enjoy weird things, and I think this imagery of the blue time, of the world where you have things that are frozen and the way people move in it, and they have different materials that have different properties and so on, in this time, and just the characters exploring what is different in this kind of surreal atmosphere, this surreal space, was pretty enjoyable, and it makes me kind of look forward to what kind of plot might develop in the future. But like I said, this is felt very much like a first book, so it's not exactly something I dislike so much as I felt a bit like the story barely got started. You really just have that opening exploration and a hint of bigger things to come, but I'm hoping basically that the next book really gets more into larger plot line. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.